Thank you. Thank you so much.
Welcome. We have a wonderful session today on the Dastando technique, and you people are masters of it. Hats off to you for your work, for the work of Dr. Srinivas and Dr. Mohinder Kaushal and all of you. So we've had this one very special session for endoscopic spine. And welcome, sir, and please start your screen sharing. We're waiting to listen to you, sir. Welcome, sir. Please start.
So Rohidas is going to start?
No, sir, you are starting.
I'll talk at the last.
Okay, so I have to start. Okay.
You start with your presentation.
Correct. Okay. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Are you able to see my screen? Malcolm?
Yeah, we are able to see your screen, sir. Please start, sir. Please start.
Okay. So hi to everybody. I am going to speak on this Destendo technique because of this. Rohidas was supposed to start. Two-level recurrent disc herniation is an endoscopic decompression. The recurrent disc herniation maximum, I think there's a 6 months is the limit period that is to the index surgery. And recurrence that occurs at a short time after the primary surgery, most of which are caused by the surgical omission. MRI with contrast is helpful to differentiate the recurrent disc herniation from the perinular fibrosis. The facts are, the majority of the surgeons prefer to use the standard open microdiscectomy to treat the recurrences. Wider exposure is assumed to provide for the more convenient recognition of the anatomical landmarks and tissue manipulation. Could be justified for less neural damage, which may lead to the decreased stability, so fusion surgery may be considered in some cases. This article shows, it is published from the Freiburg, Germany in 2016, shows the outcome were reported to be equal and sometimes favorable compared to the open and microdiscectomy for the recurrent lumbar disc herniation. Overall success rate is 90%. This is minimal invasive tubular microdiscectomy for the recurrent lumbar disc herniation. Operating time was 90 minutes, little higher and plus minus 30 minutes. Incidental durotomy, 5 patients out of 30 patients. 2 patients developed instability and requires fusion. This is the most comprehensive and detailed meta-analysis involved a total of 20,390 patients and 63 studies from 13 countries. PTD, that percutaneous endoscopy, transforaminal discectomy working channel is placed inside the nucleus pulposus with a very steep trajectory angle to recurrent central disc herniation. As a result, it is not easily accessible. Now come to the full endoscopic lumbar discectomy for the recurrent disc herniation after open discectomy. This article is published in South Korea in 2019. Shows higher risk of the complications which includes the persistent leg pain controlled by the epidural injections. Are you able to listen me?
We're able to listen to you. There's somebody here who's bombing us.
Okay. So the role of the full endoscopic lumbar discectomy, another article is published in 2019, also shows the limitations are the upward migrated disc at the shoulder and the nerve root, and the central or the lateral canal stenosis. Now come thought of the my technique, that is endoscopic Destendo technique, provides the clear differentiation of the neural structure from the scar tissue. Adhesiolysis performed while preserving the stability of the remnant facet joint would lower the risk of the complications, and no limitation from the upward or downward migrated disc, central disc, lateral canal stenosis, L5S1 level, etc. Most important is could avoid the unnecessary fusion surgery by this technique. The endospine system is a mobile operating tube, that is Destendo system. Panoramic view could be obtained with this mobile operating tube. The scar tissue is clearly differentiated from the bony tissue under the endoscopic view in order to protect the neural tissue. Deeper dissection along the bony surfaces from the facet to the base of the pedicle could easily be performed. So operating tube is mobile, illuminate and explore the hidden recesses. It can be mobilized in all directions, like medial, lateral, cranial, and caudal with the help of the left hand, the suction tip, and right hand of the instruments or the operating instrument. The magnified view eye is practically inside the spine, so advantage in obese patient also. The positioning of the patient, knee chest position increases the interlaminar space by distraction. Complete relaxation of the abdomen reduces the epidural venous plexus pressure. Head and little bit down, that is about 1.5 to 2 inches, helps to reduce the bleeding. We are putting the patient in the knee chest position on the bolster. We have a special localizing device with 2 bars in the laterally and then 2 knobs on the both side of the spinous process. We are not taking any epi view. We are just taking the lateral view with the help of this special localizing device. 2 bars should be parallel to each other and parallel to this space, and then mark with the marker pen on the dorsal surface. It is a operative technique is an interlaminar window approach, and we have a very few set of instruments. It is a press fit technique between the spinous process and the muscles. There is no special device to fix it, and we have a both the hand are free of the surgeons because of the stability of the instrument. It is very stable instruments. Now come to an example of 62 years lady undergone open laminectomy in the nerve root decompression for the lumbar canal stenosis at L4, L5 and L5S1 in December 2012. In 2014, crippling pain starts due to the recurrence of the herniation disc. Epidural nerve block given in 2015 Jan. There was a temporary relief for 3 months, and consulted many places. There was a mixed opinion for the fixation and the conservative treatment. She landed into my place in 2016 June. We have taken this X-ray. This clearly shows there is a wide laminectomy done from L4, L5 to L5S1. And then we have done the contrast MRI, which shows there is a disc herniation and compressing the nerve root of the right side. And then most recurrent disc herniation of the disc prolapse type. Scarring generally does not generate the nerve compression symptoms. Therefore, the dissections of the scar tissue from the nerve is not difficult, but a small amount of herniated nucleus pulposus could cause the nerve compression. Now see this video, it clearly shows that we are going from the bone to the soft tissue. That is the most important tips, that we have to hit the bone first and gradually differentiate between the bone and the soft tissue, then make a cleavage. Once you got a cleavage, that I think 50% work done. We have a special instrument is called nerve root retractor that retracts medially with the help of this nerve root retractor, that soft tissue, fibrous tissue, nerve and the dura as toto, and we are making a cleavage between the bone and the soft tissue and then directly on the disc space. Another patient, 56 years male, low back ache with the right severe radiculopathy, was on January 2016. It is extruded disc migrated downward, L4, L5. And then it was the axial view shows that was the compression on the right side. It is micro discectomy done. And after 7.5 months, the patient had severe pain. And this was the situation of when he presented with the 7 days history to me, when he was not able to stand without support. So this was the MRI we have done with the contrast and confirmed there was a disc at the same level L4, L5 and was compressing of the right side again. We planned for the recurrent disc surgery with the help of the stenting technique. So this is a video shows there is a almost like a never-ending process. We are just trying to remove the disc and it was coming continuously. So the recurrent disc herniation, more aggressive disc removal does not reduce these complications, may be detrimental to the functional segment, but the complete decompression is a must to prevent the relapse. So there is almost like a never-ending process, but it's a huge amount of disc we have removed. The next day morning, this was the before surgery and this is the after surgery next day morning. Patient was very much comfortable. There was no neurological deficit. Now tips to the youngster, those who are beginners, they try careful to do the cleavage between the scar tissue and the remnant of the bone. Whatever the remnant of the bone is left out, maybe lamina, maybe facet, maybe pedicle. You start from the bone, then try to go to the soft tissue and the fibrous tissue. Identify the fibrous tissue, then try to dissection from the pedicle to the nerve root. So here request the patience. Take a small curette and the pen-filled dissector work best. Now maintain this, and this endoscopic surgery, the coexistence of the lateralis stenosis does not affect the outcome because the bone decompression is very effective with this technique. At the same time, bone decompression does not lead to the higher fusion rate. Now come to the proper case that we are going to present. This is the 2-level recurrent disc herniation, 20 years boy, open discectomy done in 2017, L3, L4 and L4, L5 level, midline approach done. The scar you can see. And then the document is not available because he has lost his house in the flood, developed severe pain and left radiculopathy for 4 months, more in the buttock and thigh, but pain below the knee also bothering a lot, unable to stand more than 5 minutes, walking was painful, and VAS was 8, ODI was 30 out of 45 because he is unmarried. Both bladder and bowel is normal, scoliosis is mild, and SLR is left side 20 and right side 70, jerks was normal, conservative treatment for 3 months fails. So this is his X-ray. So there is a laminectomy done at L3, L4 and L4, L5. And we did the contrast MRI to confirm that the disc herniation and the recurrent disc herniation at L3, L4 and L4, L5. And this is the L3, L4 left side nerve root is compressed. There's a left side disc is in the L4, L5 also. So 3, 4, 4, 5, both there was a pathology. We did the contrast MRI. And this is the old scar. And this is the proposed incision of the endoscopic technique, restorative technique at L3, L4 and L4, L5 left approach. So this is the cranial and this is the caudal. So we did the marking with the marker, and this is the localizing device with the C-arm, and this was the fibrous tissue. This is the left approach. So cranial, caudal, midline and lateral. This is the cranial, and this is the fibrous tissue, and this is the nerve. This is the nerve root traversing nerve root, and this is the disc. My nerve root retractor retracting the nerve root and giving a little more space in the lateral aspect. And then this is the discectomy, and this is the complete nerve root decompression of the left side up to the foramen. Now, the small video. I'm an arthroscopic surgeon. I'm using my shoulder saver bar and also the RF, radio frequency wave. And then using here the 2 mm Kerrison punch, regular Kerrison punch we are using for the lumbar is 3 mm, but here I'm using 2 mm because of the lot of fibrous tissue, and I was able to negotiate between the fibrous tissue and the bone. Now this is the lateral aspect, that is the medial aspect of the facet, and this white glistening structure is the nerve. So we are directly laid on the nerve and then make a cleavage between the nerve or the soft tissue and the bone. We have to sacrifice a little bit of the medial aspect of the facet, maybe 2 to 3 millimeter. And then we are just decompressing the nerve root after removing the ligamentum flavum, little bit of the bone, inferior lamina, superior lamina, and also the medial aspect of the facet. So this is the nerve root, protecting my nerve root by the nerve root retractor. 11 number blade I'm using to make a nick in the nucleus pulposus. This is 3 millimeter disc forceps again to remove the disc. The disc annulus was a little bit more fibrous, hard, calcified. So it's very difficult to negotiate my instrument to the disc space. There are a lot of disc material coming out. And at the end, when I was not able to negotiate my instrument, I took the Kerrison punch to make it a little bit wider because it was fibrous and hard. Then the real pieces came out. That was the real culprit. And also, this was almost calcified disc. And then irrigation with the normal saline clearly shows the flow was very good, means there was no restriction of flow. So the all free fragments has come out. And then this is L4, L5. Also, we did the same technique and approach from the medial aspect of the facet. And then this is the nerve root, totally decompressed up to the foramen. And this is the my nerve root retractor protecting the nerve root. Then this is the disc. And we did the discectomy. And this is the nerve root complete decompressed. So I'm not going to the video now. This is the 2 port for the 3, 4 and 4, 5. And this is the midline, this is the old scar. I'm sorry for this. Yes, so this is the next day morning. Patient was able to walk without any neurological deficit or in pain. And on 21st post-op day, That was on 3 days before, that is 16th of September 2020. So this is the old scar and this is the new scar. This is also healed. The patient is able to walk comfortably, even steps walking. Okay, so this was, and then this is the total number of cases we have operated around 22,000. Total number of recurrent discs is about 48. Only one was the 2-level disc, recurrent disc. So to conclude, the endospine system is a safe tool for the recurrent disc. Superior in recurrences like central disc and upward and downward migrated disc. It could avoid the fusion, caused less trauma compared to the open surgery. However, the steep learning curve. So endospine, the mobile operating tube, a simplified approach in the 2-level recurrences also. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Day. That was a wonderful, short and a sweet presentation, but of great vital importance. You demonstrated wonderfully what you can achieve with the Destandus technique, which is so relevant in today's world and is so important a part of the endospine concept.